My Lords, in the last group, your Lordship's House gave a pretty strong steer that it felt that the role of councillors and councils in determining local planning applications locally based on the plan, not acting capriciously, acting on balance with all the material considerations taken into account, was a very important principle, not just of the way we run things in this country, but the fact that decisions are made by accountable people in a democratic way. And I'm just astonished that this Government Amendment 64 has come across, although I'm not surprised that the government benches on the back benches are so sparsely populated, because what this amendment does is emasculate the principle of a proper local planning process. It raises the spectre of, at very short timescales, political interference in what is a quasi-judicial process. And clearly, and for reasons I will ask for reassurance in a moment, demonstrates a prematurity that is likely to slow down the process of development rather than speed it up. And my evidence for the slowing down was given by my noble friend Lord Banner, and I didn't take down all the different sections and the different stages, but there's clearly statutory safeguards, overrides, practice guidance, procedures, as well as statute there, so that when development processes come forward, everybody has their say in the right way with the appropriate process. And whilst there will always be a winner or a loser, at least people can say it was done properly. Because my concern with this is, what is the process by which a minister may call in a process, forestalling it? On what intelligence will be relied on what timescale? Because I've sort of thought amongst myself, is it because, and of course planning committee agendas are published 7 days in advance normally before the meeting. So within sort of 5 working days of a recommendation from the officers for refusal, what is the process by which ministers will be advised, oh, you better jump in on this one might go wrong? What happens if there's a recommendation actually for approval, but, well, on the basis of hearsay, rumour, possibly a letter in the local newspaper, there's a suggestion that the committee might decide to go the other way. And I can't quite understand how that would normally happen, because anyone who sits on the planning committee knows they keep their mouths shut for risk of predetermination. So on what basis? And this is where I'm concerned about the political interference in planning, the party political, because nods and winks, well, we think that so-and-so on the other side might be going this way. And of course it all belies the fact, as we all know, that because the planning committee meets regularly and it's quite an onerous thing and other people have different responsibilities, you have the series of substitutions, quite properly, trained substitutes on the planning committee. So with all those moving parts, I just wonder, with a week to go, on what basis would the Secretary of State jump in? And then would it be, and then I play to the noble lady Baroness Young's point about a Quango report. At what stage are we going to prematurely judge of all the different material considerations that one report may be more important than another, when of course we all know that it's the role of the committee to balance all of them in the round and take all the material considerations in there? Are we going to sleepwalk into a situation where ministers give an additional vicarious respectability to one set of reports over another, with only half the evidence to hand, not seeing the benefit of all the objections, the proposals, the debate in the round in the chamber? And of course we understand that the purpose of this bill is to speed up planning. But it seems to me that the consequence is to slow it right down. Because how on earth would we end up in a situation where ministers could be properly advised? Look, in this House and in Parliament, there's a proper 12-stage process. My Lords, we're at stage 10 of 12. And for the reasons my noble friend Lord Banner gave, the complexity and the detail here and all that interplay, this should have been brought in at committee or at a much earlier stage. But here we are at the 11th hour in Parliament's revising chamber, trying to work this out on the hoof. I just cannot see, I cannot support this because it rides a coach and horses through established process, principles, democracy, and it's half-baked, and it should be thrown out.